Hey, this is attorney Zach Bailey with the Marc Lopez Law Firm to talk a little bit about protective orders. So if you or someone you know has had a protective order filed against them, it's important to give us a call. A lot of times people will think, I can handle this on my own because it's not a criminal matter. It's a civil issue and I don't need an attorney in there, I can handle this myself. That's a terrible idea because even though it is a civil matter, it can become criminal very quickly. For example, if a protective order is granted, maybe the petitioner, the person who files a protective order, presents enough evidence and the judge grants it, or maybe you don't even show up and it's granted without a hearing. If that is granted and you make contact with whoever filed that protective order, you can be looking at a criminal charge. And it becomes criminal so quickly, just one text message violates that protective order and you could be facing invasion of privacy charges. And that's a very serious matter. Now, it's also important because if a protective order is granted, it can restrict what you would normally want to do. You may not be able to have a firearm, and to a lot of people, that's a big deal. They also could say, if maybe it's people who share a living space, roommates who get into an argument, or maybe it's husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, something like that. If a protective order is granted, you may have to move out. So it may not seem like a big deal, but it could change your entire life. It's very important that you're represented at these kinds of hearings because not only do we know the rules of evidence, we know how to keep certain things out of a protective order hearing that may come in if an attorney's not there. If you don't know what to object to and what is admissible and what's inadmissible. We do these things every day. We know how to handle them. We know how to give you the best chance to fight against a protective order being granted against you. Nobody wants to have to go to court and deal with someone maybe that they don't want anything to do with anymore. But it's so important that you don't just let that protective order get granted without you appearing, and especially without you appearing without an attorney. Another reason it's important to bring an attorney to a protective order hearing is even though the case itself is not criminal, it's a civil matter, they can ask you questions and you will be under oath that may incriminate you. And that's the last thing we want to have happen. You know, having the protective order granted is bad enough, but having charges filed because you make a statement under oath that can be used against you can be devastating. We can protect you from making those kinds of statements. We know when it might be coming, we know how to shut it down. So it's so important to have an attorney with you at a protective order hearing. It's so much more than just a small civil dispute. It can become so much more. So give us a call, 317-632-3642. Remember, always plead the fifth.